Okay? So the vast majority of what we're going to talk about are the baroreceptors and the baroreflex, and this is how it works. So just by review, the mean arterial pressure drops. You have stretch receptors in your carotid sinus and in your aorta, and these detect that drop in pressure. The carotid is far more important in man and in apes, upright beings, than it is in animals like dogs and cats, where the aorta is more important. Okay? So the mean arterial pressure drops, and the inputs into the medulla, the frequency of the action potentials drop. And that's how your medulla knows that the blood pressure went down. And in response to that, the sympathetic output increases from the medulla, and the parasympathetic output decreases, mostly through the vagus nerve running to the heart. Okay? And don't let me keep you awake. And we innervate our SA node, and that regulates heart rate, and we increase, and we innervate our ventricular myocardium, that's sympathetic only, and that increases intratropic state. Okay? And note also, we get vasoconstriction in areas that we've talked about now. The GI tract can afford to give up some blood when you have high sympathetic tone. You're probably not thinking about digesting. You're probably worried about other things like running away from bear. Okay, so you will constrict to the beds where you can afford to constrict, and that will increase your total peripheral resistance, and that will also increase your mean arterial pressure. MAP, cardiac output, times TPR. Increased cardiac output through heart rate, stroke volume, increased mean arterial pressure through that and through total peripheral resistance. So that's why you get constriction, okay? And as I mentioned in the last lecture, the veins, the walls of the veins stiffen, the compliance decreases, and for the same pressure you have less volume, and you inject that volume into the rest of the circulation. That helps you maintain pressure as well, okay? So here's our baroreceptors. If we measure the frequency of stimulations in our sinus nerve, and if we have really, really low pressure, like 50 mean arterial pressure, we get a very low frequency. And as that pressure increases, the frequency increases, as you can see here. And you'll notice that it increases a lot on the way up and then decreases on the way down. So literally you are measuring the increases and decreases in pressure during a single beat. And then at 125 more frequently, and then at 200 it's all saturated, and that's as many action potentials as you can fire.